Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Leadership podcast. My name is Bayo Amodu. This is Techie Nigeria segment of Money Radio. I'm not alone in the studio today. I have with me an ICT expert, Anil Jafari. Anil, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here.
All right, thank you. On the program today, we'll be discussing the topic emerging careers and subsectors in information technology. Yeah, Africa is still lagging behind in the area of information technology despite her huge population. With 52 countries and about 1.2 billion population, Africa is not where it is supposed to be. And we're dissecting this topic today. There are areas of improvement. There are areas that Africa needs to step up again in information technology. Haniel, with this huge population in Africa, what do you think? Where do you think we are now in the information technology in Africa?
We are way behind. We are the least connected continent. African connectivity is like 18% out of the 1.2 billion. That means we have 18% of Africans, 18% of that 1.2 billion are connected to the internet. And majorly or largely without the internet, you really can't go far as long as technology is concerned, because that's what brings about the connectivity that influence development and innovation in the technological sector. So we are way behind. We are way behind, and there's a whole lot of things and a whole lot of work that we need to put in generally in Africa.
And that's where I want you to explain further. Now, there are emerging industries in IT. Now, we're way behind. We are not where we're supposed to be. So how can we develop our IT infrastructure?
Well, there are many aspects or design plan that we can begin to implement. Okay. Now, the first thing is have a master plan. Your master plan would help you to address certain things and give you a roadmap on how to ensure that with a short time frame you deliver more IT infrastructure. And when we're talking about IT infrastructure, we're talking about the broadband connectivity. Once you have a master plan, that's going to help you. But in the master plan, there are certain things that needs to be. You need to look for a way to bring forth satellite technology that brings forth internet, that's VSAT. That was what we used to use then, before the emergence of broadband fiber optic, where everybody now switched to broadband fiber optics. But notwithstanding, that does not mean that technology is obsolete. There are areas and segments and places that technology can still be deployed, especially in rural areas where there are no broadband connectivity within that areas. This kind of fiber, because the line on site is the space you get. So with that, it makes it easier for us to get connected, and even rural areas get connected. Then we can also look at rural telephoning, because rural telephoning it's a sector under the telecoms. The telecoms, as majority of us know, they help us to get connected. Most of the infrastructure that drives connectivity are infrastructures owned and managed by telecommunication companies. But there are still areas that these guys have not been able to penetrate, especially areas where, especially rural areas. So one way they can solve that is by implementing rural telephone. There are companies that does that. There are companies that's what they do. They get contracted and they go deploy internet in a certain specific area, and they know how they get their infrastructures and all that from. So if Africans can leverage on rural telephoning, expand the broadband connectivity via the investment in telecom sectors, and also fiber optics deployment, I think we can cover up the gap that we're experiencing now.
Thank you. Let's talk about Nigeria now. In terms of rural telephony, where do you think we are at the moment?
I know for sure that there are certain telecoms company, the major telecoms companies that are implementing rural telephoning, especially when they know, because especially when they know that they may not be able to get to those rural locations. There are locations that are way so they are far away from the city that you can't even use bike. You can't use bike. You can't use car. You can't use bike. So solving those getting telecoms equipment to those kind of places is usually difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, so what they do is to bring forth rural telephoning to come and help in bringing the telecom services to those kind of communities, so they can make calls, receive calls, and also get connected to the internet. So Nigerian, I know for sure that there are some telecoms company have embraced rural telephoning,
Okay.
but we still have others that are yet to embrace it, and that's where we are. But I know fully well that by major cities in Nigeria are connected, but it's not all about getting connected now, but getting connected with the right equipment, getting connected with the right services, and not just say that a city like Abuja running 2G. Can you imagine that? No, in the whole of Abuja, we're not supposed to be running anything less than 4G.
Okay.
Yes, so it's not just about getting connected, but now the speed at which you're connected, it also matters in the area of encouraging innovations.
But talking about rural telephony, whose responsibility you think it is to develop it? Government, private sector, or it should be a synergy?
Well, it can be a synergy. It can be a synergy, but majorly the telecoms are why they are embracing rural telephoning is because it is cost effective for them.
Okay.
They will not. There will be no need for them to. They are not the one managing the infrastructure. It is the company that is deploying that's managing the infrastructure. So for them, and also at the same time, you're giving them their services is still being offered through those infrastructures. So, but notwithstanding, government can also invest in it. In fact, that would have been the best solution for transmission of results if the issue of we don't have enough. There's no internet in some rural areas. Yes, there's no internet, but we can bring for rural telecommunication, rural telephoning equipment, and the internet will be there. So if the government can use that, can leverage on that, they can also use that as a means of getting the entire Nigeria connected to the internet.
Thank you. And now let's go back to the issue of internet penetration. Well, the three countries on the top chart in terms of internet penetration are Kenya with 85%, Libya with 82%, while Nigeria is on the third position at 73%. Now, in terms of internet penetration in Africa, what do you think are the hindrances from achieving, a faster and a better internet penetration in Africa?
I think the major concern is that we have more rural areas than urban cities. You get, and as earlier mentioned, taking these equipment to the rural areas are always very difficult. They are not things you move. There are things. What I mean by they are not things you move, they are not things that are easily moved. You get, so it requires a whole lot of carrying and a lot of logistics in moving all these equipment and setting them up. So because of that, the hindrance of no route to those rural areas. I'm talking about core rural areas, not rural areas that you can even access with car or access with bike. There are core rural areas that for you to get to a place that is tarred or a place that is motorable, you will need to use bike for like 3 hours within a particular state. So it's usually, I think that's the major reasons why we don't have that level of penetration. But notwithstanding, if we can implement broadband does not require broadband is just a cable.
Okay.
You get for fiber optic. I mean, if you can implement fiber optic broadband, it's just a cable. All you need to do is to lay the cable, and the cable can get to that community. And once it gets to that community, everybody's connected to the internet, because from there you now distribute.
Okay, thank you very much. Viewers, we are still on Money Radio, on Techie Nigeria segment of Money Radio. And today our focus is on emerging careers and subsectors in information technology in Africa. Now, talking about broadband penetration, I know that the Nigerian government has a plan, and for some years, government has been trying to fine-tune and work on the plan. Where do you think we are now in terms of our broadband plan? Are we moving closer to achieving the goal?
Well, you know, looking at where we were and where we are now, there's been tremendous growth, and working with the master plan, the master plan, broadband master plan, we ought to be around 80 to 90% penetration. 80 to 90% penetration by 2025.
Okay.
You get, so if we can achieve that, with the speed and the pace at which we're going, there is high chance that we can achieve that. We're still in 2020. We still have four years to go. If we can continue in this pace, well, there will be a change of government sometime
In the next 2 years.
In the next 2 years. So, but if we can continue in this space, there is that hope that we can get all Nigerians connected.
Okay. Thank you very much, Aniel. We are still on emerging careers and subsectors in information technology in Africa. Now, let's talk about human capital and capacity development. Now, let's start with Africa. In terms of our goal of improving our internet information technology infrastructure vis-a-vis human capital development, where do you place us?
That's we are, generally Africa, when we want to look at Africa generally in all these innovations, advancements, we're always at the bottom. And that notwithstanding, it's not as though we're not growing, but we are always at the bottom.
Okay.
You get human capital. Why do people leave Africa to go to the Western world to study? It's because of it is not all about, it is the same thing. It is more of like the same course. You're studying computer science in Africa. You're going to the UK, you're studying computer science. Or you're going to the US, you're studying computer science. So what's the difference? Why would people prefer to go there and study the same course in Title? The reason is because of the curriculum. Yes, and the way we have designed our curriculum. We've designed our curriculum in such a way that it is so choked that it makes us lose. We lose focus of the reason why we're in school in the first place. Now, I schooled in the US, and I can recall all the courses I took during my time. I took 40 courses. For 4 years, 40 courses. Every year, I did not take anything more than 10 courses. You get all these courses, they are streamlined towards ensuring that you achieve the goal of being a computer scientist. You get, but that is not the case in Africa. When you go to Africa, you find out that you in your first year, you're taking over 20 courses. In your second year, you are taking a little below 20 courses. In your third year, you're taking around 15 courses. By that, you are bringing all in 4 years. You've taken 75 courses, and 75 courses that really does not mean anything to your field. It does not have any impact on your field. It does not have any. It does not help you in achieving the goal and the course that you have applied for or you're studying. Because that's a major concern, and that's one thing that has taken African backward in the area of human capital.
Okay. Now, I would also like you to expatiate further on the emerging careers and the subsectors. So maybe let's talk about the subsectors first. What are the subsectors, emerging subsectors in information technology now?
Okay. Now, one subsector that has been here, but it is growing. Generally, anything that has to do with IT is a dynamic. The IT industry is a dynamic industry. It's not an industry that you invest something today and you expect the same return tomorrow. It is dynamic in nature, and all sectors and subsectors under the IT, they change with time. The software development subsector or the software subsector has always been a subsector since the emergence of IT, because it is the software and the hardware that drive the IT. But it has grown beyond that. Now there are new programming languages that we need to learn. There are new things we need to learn. There are new front-end programming language. There are new back-end programming language that are more effective, ensure that makes the job of even the software developers easier. But in Africa, do we have this programming language? Are these programming languages? Because sadly, there are still some countries, there are still some institutions in Nigeria and Africa at large that are still teaching Kubo. Kubo programming language, that was the programming language that was introduced in the 60s, the 70s. I really don't see the need. It does not. Yeah, there are certain areas where it will be relevant, but its relevance has been dropped to the barest minimum. And there are new programming languages like Golang and the likes that we need to now begin to introduce into our curriculum, as I've earlier said, which we have lacked. We've not been able to do that. We are not introduced. We are not supposed to have a computer science. A computer science curriculum is not something that you're supposed to have static. It's supposed to be reviewed yearly because of the dynamic nature of the industry.
Okay.
Yes. So that's.
Thank you so much, Haniel. I see her with me on the show today, Haniel Jafaru, an ICT expert on Morning Radio today. We'll go on a short break and we'll be back. Stay tuned.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
You're welcome back. It's still Morning Radio on Leadership Podcast. I'm Baya Modu, and I still have with me an ICT expert, Haniel Jafaru. Haniel, before we went on break, we were talking about the need to redesign our educational curriculum, and you talk about new languages. Now, I want you to talk about them now. I know we have cybersecurity, artificial intelligence. Can you tell us what they are?
Okay, cybersecurity is generally it's an industry or a subsector that helps in protecting the information security or our data in the cyberspace. Just the way we have the physical form of security, there is still an aspect of insecurity that occurs in the digital space, and the professionals that are designed or that have learned the skill of cybersecurity would all those professionals, because cybersecurity is a broad field,
Okay.
all those professionals, they are considered to be cybersecurity professionals, but it is broad. It is broad to the extent that it has about 3 specialization. Yeah, cybersecurity subsector alone has 3 specialization, and one can specialize in a particular specialization and be okay with it. You really don't need to know all the specialization, but there are some persons that know, that goes as far as taking as much as they can take in the area of specialization. Now, the cybersecurity industry generally has cybersecurity ventures made a research recently, and they say that by the end of 2021 there will be 3.5 million cybersecurity jobs.
Okay.
Yeah, 3.5 million cybersecurity jobs open on field. That does not mean that
Globally or in Africa?
Globally.
Okay.
3.5 globally, and now that does not that does not mean that no people are not going in. You get, it means that people are going in, but even with the rate at which people are going into that sector or that subsector,
Okay.
there is still a gap in manpower. So what are we supposed to do now? Africans and Nigerians generally, we're supposed to leverage on this kind of information to see how we can build professionals that will be able to take in this kind of jobs.
Okay.
And how do we do that? One way we can do that is by ensuring that 4 years is why it is not out of place to introduce it into our as a program into our universities and all that. But 4 years is too much for you to be able to develop professionals that will be able to fill that distance, because of the rate at which it is expanding.
Okay.
As at 2016, when they released a similar report, the people began to 2016 when they released that similar report, people began to enter the industry and begin to leverage on that information. But even with that, the numbers kept increasing. The gap, the manpower gap kept increasing. That means 4 years is actually too much for us to build and to be able to, for the world to be able to close that gap. So what have the other developed countries, what have they done? What they did is to introduce programs that are short duration programs that would help, that also makes you to be short duration programs, that also makes you to have the skill that you require to get in this program in a short period of time.
Okay, what about artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence, again, it goes back to our curriculum. Artificial intelligence is all about human making machines to behave and to have thinking faculty, allowing machines to begin to learn things and take decisions on their own with certain machine learning algorithm that is designed within them. So things, machine and software begin to learn. And once they are learning, they are now able to take decisions. Now, that goes into the need for new fields like mechatronics. That is a combination of mechanical engineers and electronic engineers. So we now in Africa, we are focused on the mechanical, we're focused on electronics, but we hardly have programs that are designed strictly for artificial intelligence, that is able to bring mechanical and electronics together, called mechatronics, that would design the hardware that would make it possible for artificial intelligence software to run on.
So lastly on the program, because of our time, Anil, where do you see Nigeria in 5 years in terms of developing professionals that can fill these gaps that you have identified?
If we are able to first integrate this thing into our curriculum, it's very key, very important. We don't, in Nigeria, we don't have more than up to 5 universities that offer cybersecurity. In fact, we don't have universities that are offering software development as a core course. Almost all universities are offering computer science. The IT or information technology sector has grown so big that computer science is a general knowledge. Yet now it's time for you to specialize and be specific. Do you want to go into software development? Let's have universities that will develop, that will train you to be a software developer. Do you want to go to become a web developer or a front end UI UX developer? Let's have people that are design, people that will just pick a specialization instead of going generally into computer science, and at the end of the day they come out, they don't know which of it they want to go for. Let's start training. Well, now, if we do that, then we are now ready to face the world and grow.
Anil, I must thank you for coming on the show today. Thank you so much. Nigeria surely has a lot of opportunities in the area of information technology. That is, if the government can do the right thing. That is much we can take on Morning Radio today, on Techie Nigeria segment of Morning Radio today. Once again, I want to thank you. My name is Bayo Amodu. Join us next time on Morning Radio. Thank you.